Hello there, people of the internet. Audience request. I was asked to go ahead and show off some loadouts for older firearms. So, the main reason why I haven't done this, I've been asked to do this a couple of times by a couple of different people, so I'm making this video on it. The main reason why I haven't done this is because it's probably not going to be all that exciting, and it's probably going to be like a short video, because there's not much to go after. If we're just talking about the guns and not like the various other kinds of equipment that, say, a World War II soldier would be carrying, then it's just not much. So normally we would talk about like things from a historical context, but I think we're gonna mix this up and talk more like using a loadout in a modern day context versus like what would have historically been accurate for that particular firearm with that particular loadout. So, if you're going to be rocking an old school gun, I got this Ishapore 2A1 because I think as far as old school styles of firearms go, if we're talking about like World War II era style bolt action rifles or earlier, although this right here is not a World War II style of bolt action technically since it's chambered in 7.62 NATO, it's still very clearly modeled after the #1 Mark III, which very much is a World War II style of bolt action rifle or earlier. But this right here, I think, is going to be the best choice for one of those old-style bolt-action rifles just because it is chambered in 7.62 NATO. So if you are going to go with something, I would recommend that it be this right here. In terms of loadout for your firearm, we're not talking about this particular gun. It's going to be more like all of your old school bolt action, firearms that you're going to go with, or just old school firearms in general. So you're going to have your rifle. You're going to want some kind of sling on it. I actually do not have a sling that I can put on this Ishapore right now, so I guess I am talking a little bit of hypocrisy here. But you're going to want some kind of sling on your rifle if you're going to be using it for any practical purposes. Odds are your old school bolt action military surplus rifle is going to be fed from stripper clips. So you're going to want to get some stripper clips to be able to feed your rifle. In this particular case, the Ishapore does take stripper clips, and we got some 7.62 NATO on stripper clips. This right here is actually corrosive ammunition, so if I do shoot this stuff, I will have to clean my rifle afterwards. So you got your ammunition on stripper clips, or perhaps it's in-block clips. I don't know, maybe you're rocking a Carcano, however that's pronounced, or maybe an in-block clip self-loading rifle like the M1 Grand. Like, that might be something to look into. So you're going to want a way to be able to feed your rifle quickly in the event that your rifle's got a fixed magazine. So get yourself some stripper clips to be able to do that. You can actually carry more ammunition on stripper clips than you can inside of like fully loaded magazines. I know a lot of people, whenever we talk about these in-field series, they'll talk about getting a bunch of different magazines for their rifles so they don't got to worry about fiddling with stripper clips. And then those same people will tell me that they'll take the SKS because it's fed from stripper clips and they don't have to worry about the weight of the magazines. So it's kind of like they want the opposite of what the things were actually done with. Anyway, whenever it comes to the infield, I would definitely recommend getting yourself like additional external magazines, even with that increased weight. Having the magazines to feed into the rifle versus having to rely on feeding 5-round stripper clips into your magazine in a modern day context would just be the better option. You would have less ammunition. It's not an ideal setup from a modern day context by any stretch of the imagination. But if you could, I would definitely recommend having additional external magazines as opposed to carrying around stripper clips. But if you want to go the stripper clip route, or you got yourself, like, say, a Mauser or a Mosin with a fixed magazine, then get yourself stripper clips and a way to carry ammunition, which is what this bandolier right here is. Does not have to be a bandolier. I've seen bandoliers and mag pouches and belt attachments and all sorts of stuff that you can utilize for any of these rifles. I would show some of those off, but I actually do not have any at my current filming location. But you could look up and see, Mauser mag pouches. Those will fit basically anything. Mosin mag pouches. Those will also basically fit anything. Just some kind of way to carry ammunition on your person, and then a stripper clip to be able to quickly feed it into your rifle. My recommendation, have at least one of those mag pouches or bandoliers or something like that. In this particular case, if this bandolier was filled, we would have 15, 30, 60, looks like 75 rounds of 7.62 NATO. Combine that with 2, because I'd probably carry 2 bandoliers if I was going to be doing any kind of real practical application with this rifle. And that would be 150 rounds of 7.62 NATO ammunition. Anything beyond that, and you start really getting into some heavier aspects. So as far as your rifle goes, there's not much that I can say about it. Get yourself a sling. Way to feed the rifle quickly via stripper clips or external magazines if you can. Ammunition, and a way to carry that ammunition with a bandolier. That's really all that there is to old school loadouts for your old school rifles. Now, the same kind of concept can actually be applied to the handgun as well. If you're going to go with an old school design like a 1911, and yes, it is an old school design if we're talking about an original style of 1911, single stack magazine, 45 ACP. A lot of people love preaching 2 world wars. Well, guess what? 2 world wars. The last one was 80 years ago. Hopefully we don't have to deal with a third one. But if you're going to go out and use an old school handgun design like a 1911 or whatever else it is that you feel like choosing, I am not going to tell you what you should and should not be choosing here. Brush that off of this. Then you're going to want ammunition, magazines, and a way to carry the magazines. I actually got these. These are reproduction mag pouches for the 1911. They hold 2 magazines. I literally just kind of strap them onto my belt whenever I go to the range. My regular pants belt works fine with this. It doesn't look very cool or very flashy or anything like that. But if we're talking about using a loadout for a practical application, what matters is that it's functional, not how it looks. So extra magazines for the 1911, which is necessary because these are 7-round mags. I got the 8-round mag inside of the gun itself. So that's 7, 14, 21, 28, plus these right here. That would be 36 rounds of ammunition, unless my math is off. So we're going to just call it like 36 rounds of ammunition, 37 if you got 1 in the chamber already. That's not a whole lot of handgun ammunition, especially considering the capacities of modern day handguns in 9mm, like a double stack like let's compare it to something like, I don't know, a Beretta. I know that those will hold between 15 to 17 rounds depending on the magazine that you got. Yeah, 2 magazines of that versus like 5 with the 1911. Not an ideal option, but this is chambered in 45 ACP, so you do have that slightly increased power output if we're comparing 45 ball to 9mm ball. So that's my 2 cents on this subject. There's not much more to add to it. If you're going to do a loadout for an old school gun, get ammo, get a way to carry it, get a way to carry the gun. I would definitely recommend using your pistol in a holster or something like that. But preferably, we would not need to be in a situation where we would have to deal with this. My 1911, I actually have a World War II holster, not here at this current filming location where I'm currently at. But it is a chest rig holster, and it is on just old school web gear. And I actually use that for hunting. My 1911, I keep it on my side whenever I'm out hunting, because here in Florida, we got a bunch of boar here. We got cougars. We got all sorts of stuff that might come out of the woodwork, and you don't want to be caught off guard with that with nothing to defend yourself. So that's my 2 cents on this. Hopefully this answered some questions, and hopefully this got you guys your fill. Thanks for watching. I do appreciate your time. Like, subscribe, share. Description below has a link to all sorts of stuff. Go check it out. I will acknowledge that there are some other accessories that were used 80 plus years ago for these firearms that were a little bit more niche. Like, I know that there was a sling attachment for, I believe it was a Mauser, where it would like attach to your body itself, and you could use that as tension to stabilize your Mauser for more accurate shooting. There's like oddball things like that that you could utilize with your firearm. But for the most part, these old school guns, they don't have the customization that modern guns have. Like, if I were to show you a proper loadout for an AR platform, along with all the accessories and whatnot that you would want for the gun, we would be here for a much longer time than talking about old school bolt action rifles or old school handguns or things like that. So I already did the outro. I'll see y'all on the next episode.
I've done this. Bonnie and Clyde be damned. The poor man's Garen. It's a shame that bolt-action shotguns aren't more mainstream.